Getting a job with no experience can be tricky, but people also tell us how hard it is to job search without a degree. Let's break down why and teach you what you can do to stand out even if you don't have a degree. When a job posting says degree preferred, how should someone approach applying to that job, or should they even apply?
If they are very interested in the job and they otherwise match very well with the job, I say go for it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're never going to know for sure until you actually apply for the job,
Yeah.
right? So I say absolutely go for it. Here's another spot where a cover letter could be beneficial because you can kind of tell that story about that alternative route you took outside of that degree and how that alternative route has allowed you to build the skills necessary to be qualified for that role. And also leveraging your network, and this is where a referral could come in handy.
You heard it here first. Even without a degree, you can stand out, but it is worth discussing what to do when the company you're applying to still places significant value on degrees. What's the best way to convince an employer you're the right fit if you don't have a degree that they're explicitly asking for in the job description?
Skills and experience are always going to take precedent over that degree with just about any employer. The degree may be required, but what they really want to know is what are the skills and the credentials that you have to do the work. Focus on the value that you can bring through employers, and that's going to be by highlighting that skills and experience.
Even though I don't use the 2 degrees that I have, I should still apply for other jobs.
Yes, and don't discount your degrees. I don't want to sound like I'm talking like
You're
that, like it
degrees
discounting
suck.
Degrees offer you valuable knowledge and experience. What I want to just stress is that that's not the only way we can get those skills and experience. There are a number of different avenues.
What can someone do to stand out if their competition for a job is people who basically have a 4-year degree?
Well, I've said it many times, and I'm going to say it again. Please leverage your network. That is your community. Those are the people that are going to go to bat for you and really talk you up. Also, another thing that can be helpful is to build a portfolio of your work. So, for example, if you're a writer, you could have a blog that showcases your writing. If you're a software developer, you can have a GitHub that showcases your work there. That provides tangible evidence that you can do the work to the employer as well. We also want to craft that alternative narrative. I've kind of mentioned that before with the cover letter. That's where we can talk about, hey, I took this different route. That's not the traditional degree route, but I've learned a lot along the way, and here's what I've learned.
Right.
And then sometimes it's just good to focus on companies that are clearly not seeking a degree. Those companies probably have a little bit more open mind when it comes to who they're looking for, and they're not just solely focused on people with degrees. The thing is, a degree doesn't always clearly indicate that you have the relevant skills and experience to do the job. What does is showing that you have the relevant skills and experience
To do the job.
That's what hiring managers care about.
Exactly. I have another hot take from Reddit, and I really want to hear your thoughts on it. This Reddit user says, I used to be part of the hiring process at an old job where we required a degree, but if someone had enough experience/skills and didn't have one, we made exceptions. You never know. Sometimes people will give you a chance. Just don't give up trying. So what's your take here? True, false?
I love this take. I think it's absolutely true, and I feel like more employers are moving in this direction, and I think that's a good thing.
I agree. I'd rather someone have good skills, and the degree is a nice added. Is my degree even relevant? Because, like I said, I have 2 degrees and I do not use them.
It still shows that you are capable of being trained, that you are capable of learning, that you are capable of adapting. So let's not discount degrees. I know we're talking a lot about how no degrees and how to navigate that aspect, but let's not discount the benefit of having a degree as well.
How do you address not having a degree in an interview? And you don't want to sound too defensive or just sounding too upset about the fact that you don't have a degree.
Well, let's make one thing clear. If you're already in the interview, that employer has already taken into consideration that you don't have a degree, and they're still considering you a potentially qualified candidate for the role. So let's go into that interview with confidence, knowing that that employer has seen that and that's not a factor anymore. There's no need to actually bring that up unless the employer brings it up. If the employer is not interested in why you have no degree, it probably is not something that matters all that much. But if they do ask about it, we can briefly acknowledge that, yes, I did take a different path, but here's the path I took. And here's what I learned along the way. And here's how that makes me an exceptional candidate for your role. So kind of use it to your advantage. Use that alternative journey to your benefit in the interview.
Spin it.
Spin it.
I love a good spin. Okay. Wondering how to spot red flags in job postings before you get your hopes up? Find out what to avoid and what to trust. Search Indeed on YouTube. You've cracked the code for the jobs you want to apply for. The next step is figuring out how to land the role, even if your resume is looking a little light. Clint. We do receive a lot of YouTube comments, and so we actually got a comment from a previous season of Job Search Stories, and the episode was How to Deal with Rejection in the Job Search. The comment says, what advice would you give to someone who is applying for an entry-level job that is not necessarily related to what they studied?
Network, network, network. We'll say that over and over again. We've got to leverage the network we had and start building out that network as well. And we also want to assess our transferable skills that we could utilize and that can really help us to show ourselves as a qualified candidate.
Speaking of transferable skills, what are they and how can someone with no experience lean into them to make their job application stand out?
Well, first, let's define transferable skills. So transferable skills are going to be skills that can be applied across multiple industries, regardless of where we actually develop those skills. We want to lean into those skills very heavily on our resume, highlight them wherever we can. And let's also consider that cover letter where we can kind of tell our story in a way that maybe we can't tell it so much on a resume and really focus in on how these skills could be useful in this particular role.
We have a lot of tips on that too, so watch our YouTube channel. We talk about networking a lot, but let's talk about the basics. Why is it vital? And how can beginners use networking effectively?
So networking is an essential tool, not just for job seekers, by the way. It's essential for anyone who's looking to grow and develop in their career.
Yeah.
So for beginners, I recommend starting with people you know, your friends, your family, and if you've held jobs before, your coworkers. Those are great places to start. Maybe they can help you directly, or maybe they can refer you to people that might be able to help you a little bit more directly. But also identify people in those industries that seem interesting to talk to and reach out to them. Let them know, hey, I'm really interested in starting a career in this industry. Can we just chat for like 15 to 20 minutes over coffee or online? And I just want to learn more from you about that.
What's the fastest way to build real-world experience outside of a job?
When people think of experience, they think of full-time paid jobs. And that's really the only thing that I can put as experience. And that's not true. Experience is anywhere where we utilize skill sets that are relevant to the job we're going after. That could be internships, volunteer opportunities. If you're in school, that could be student orgs, or if you're out of school, that could be civic organizations where you can hold leadership positions. There's a whole host of ways where we can gain experience that's not just a paid job.
Well, speaking of volunteer work, what are some creative ways to highlight your experience that is outside of traditional jobs that might impress a hiring manager?
I've managed some community service organizations outside of work and have put that on my resume and highlighted it there. So I've definitely done that. I would say focus on the relevant skills you develop. It's not what you did, it's what you did there, what you did while you were there. And that's what we want to focus on there. For example, if you did a community fundraiser, that shows project management, shows communication, shows leadership. Those are all things that matter over a ton of jobs there. So use that resume, use that interview to really highlight those skills.
And I think that's a really good tip for beginners in general because they don't really know how to talk about it.
Right.
So there we go. And that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching Job Search Stories. If you're looking for more job search advice, please be sure to subscribe to Indeed's YouTube channel. Also, drop a comment or topic you'd like us to cover, or even share your own job search story, and we will make sure to reply. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
I do that way too much, so now Clint's doing it. Do it to the camera.
Period.